All right, hello and welcome. So glad to have you guys with me today. So excited for today's session. We're going to be talking about how to triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right. And I love this topic because regardless of where you're at in your plumbing, HVAC, home service business, there's always room for improvement, right? And there's always room to continue to move things forward in your business, to generate more leads, to generate more sales. And so whether you're at $500,000 per year and you're looking to go to 1.5, or you're at $5 million a year and you're looking to go to 15 million, I'm going to share a specific strategy, a specific formula that regardless of what your starting point is right now, you can absolutely triple your sales over the next 12 to 24 months. I know that's a pretty strong promise. I'm going to be unpacking a formula and then we're going to be getting into the very specific details on this. But if that sounds like a good use of your time, having a very strategic approach to dialing your online marketing and be able to triple your leads, triple your book jobs, and ultimately triple your revenue, give me a 1 in the comments if that sounds like a good use of your time today, and you'll feel pretty good about that. Excellent. Rick, Jemmy, Yuri, I appreciate you guys engaging. I will be looking to you guys for engagement. So as I put stuff in, as I ask you guys to comment, do that for me. It helps me get a sense that you guys are there and that what I'm saying is really actually resonating and it's connecting with you guys as the audience, because that's what this is for, really to help you guys take things to the next level. I've asked this a couple of times, but for those of you that logged in late, let me know what type of business you run. Is it plumbing? Is it HVAC? Is it plumbing, HVAC, electrical? Is it some combination thereof? I just want to make sure I gear this as much to you guys as possible. So without further ado, here's what we're going to be covering on today's session. I want to confirm I am large. You guys are seeing me large enough that you can see my screen. And I look okay. Just give me a yes in the comments if you can see me and you've got visual here. I'm the big guy. Okay, good. Fantastic. Okay, so first things first. This is going to be all around how to triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right. I'm going to unpack the accelerated growth model for doing just that and really showing you the key things you have to look at, key things you have to optimize for to bring that into reality. We're going to talk about the most important online marketing channels that you should be tapping into. There's so many different things you could be doing to market your plumbing, HVAC, electrical, home service business, from websites and SEO and pay-per-click and next door and all of these services. We're going to talk about the main channels you really want to be plugged into and taking advantage of. We're going to talk about how to make sure your website is built to convert at the highest level possible. What I know is that if your website doesn't convert visitors into leads, it's really easy to spend a lot of money and not get a lot in return. We'll talk about a proven strategy for getting ranked better organically, how to win with local service ads, which has really taken the online marketing area by storm, and ultimately some strategies to double the conversions from leads into book jobs, right? And if you can get all of those things dialed in, you can really, really write the ticket in terms of how you generate leads, how you book jobs, and how you grow your plumbing, HVAC, or electrical business. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Josh Nelson. I'm the founder of Plumbing and HVAC SEO. I'm the author of How to Triple Your Sales by Getting Your Internet Marketing Right, the topic of today's session. And I'm excited to have you here. And I'd say more important than any of the stuff that's on this screen is really, I've had the opportunity to work with hundreds of plumbing and HVAC companies in some of the most competitive markets across the country, and being able to see them dominate their local market, significantly grow their businesses, many of them by millions and millions of dollars a year in revenue growth. And so what I'm going to be sharing with you today and throughout the course of this session isn't theory. It's not like on a book somewhere that I read or a blog that I read somewhere. Like, we do this day in and day out. And our team is dedicated to implementing the strategies that generate these results and these outcomes. And so I'm going to be sharing with you based on my experience and what we're actually seeing work in the real world. And we do have a real company with real people that this is what we do. We eat, sleep, breathe digital marketing for plumbing, HVAC, and home service companies. So if at some point as we're talking, you're like, you know what, this sounds great, but I just want to hire you guys. I want you to do this for me. We'd love the opportunity to chat. As a matter of fact, Christian, if you could drop the link, if you're like, you know what, I want to hear this, but I also want to schedule a time where you guys can look at my specific website and my specific situation, you can go to plumberseo.net/schedule, grab a time, no obligation. We'll just look at what you have, show you where there's room for improvement, and if it makes sense, we'll talk about how we can work together. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. So before we get all the way into how to triple your sales by getting your marketing right, I want to talk a little bit about why this is so important and why it's worth you taking the time and the energy that you're spending today to be on today's session and to kind of think about digital marketing and how you can take things to the next level. The first thing is, and I think this is pretty obvious, but the reality is marketing will make or break your business, right? Regardless of how good you are at the plumbing, at the HVAC, at the services that you provide, regardless of how well honed your operation is, if you don't have a solid flow of new leads and new jobs, even if you've got great technicians, if you don't have the lead flow, your business will become bottlenecked. So really, it can make or break your business. The second thing is you guys make a massive investment in online marketing. As an industry, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, home services, you're spending money today on Google ads, on Facebook ads, on billboards, on wrapping your trucks, on being involved in the local community. And there's a lot of money being spent. Just give me a one in the comments if you feel like you personally have a pretty large investment in online marketing, right? And that's one of the reasons you want to get this right, because sometimes there's not a great return on investment, right? It's fine to spend a lot of money, but that money needs to be returned, right, in profitable revenue within the business. Okay, a lot of you guys like, yeah, we spend some money on this. I think the third really big reason that dialing in your online marketing is so important is I talked about how marketing can make or break your business, but really the bigger challenge for most of you guys, it's not having enough leads, it's not having enough technicians, right? We all know there's a shortage of technicians in this industry, and really the hard part is getting the right techs, getting them trained up, keeping them engaged, keeping them on board. Give me a one in the comments again if that's one of your big concerns. It's like, yeah, I'm really more concerned about keeping the technicians, right? Yeah, most of you guys are saying that. So here's the situation. If you don't have your marketing dialed in, maybe you get ahead of yourself a little bit. You put a great recruitment strategy in place. You start to get some great technicians. You wrap that next truck, but there's not enough lead flow, or you're not able to get the lead flow to keep that second truck, that third truck, that sixth truck busy. What you wind up with is parked trucks, right? And so really, I think for most of you, the opportunity cost is the most important thing. Knowing that you've got a knob that you can turn as you add that next truck to keep the trucks running, to keep that technician busy, because we know if we can't keep them busy, they're going to hop to the competition. And that's much more costly than missing a couple of leads and a couple of jobs. So I think we can agree this is pretty important, right? We have to get this dialed in. We want to make sure the money we spend is generating a great return on investment. We're tapping into the channels that actually generate a return on investment, and that we can keep the trucks running and things going. So the opportunity, and really today's session is around how to triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right. My promise for you, again, I'm going to give you that strategy for tripling your sales, regardless of where you're at today. We're going to talk about how to nail your marketing, how to have a great tangible return on investment, and not guessing, but knowing here's where my dollar went, here's how much was generated in return, and knowing that return is there so you can continue to increase it as you grow. And most importantly, make sure you're generating enough leads to hit your targets, to keep the trucks running and the business booming. And so that's why this is important. I've got a great workbook that I'm going to go through with you guys today so that you'll get the ideas. The last thing I want is for this to be a session that's just me talking at you for the next hour or so. I want you to hear the ideas, get the insights, and really be able to walk away with an action plan that says, okay, based on what he said here, this is what I need to do with my website, or this is what we need to do with the paid thing, or this is what we need to be doing with our marketing follow-up. So we just dropped it in the comments. Go to plumberseo.net/workbook. You can download it as a Google Doc. So you can make a copy of it. This can be your own document that you work from going forward. If you could, just because I think it's pretty important that you track along, just type 1 in the comments once you've got this open, let's say on another tab or on another window. Lori's got it opened. Give me some ones. I know sometimes it takes longer than others. Okay, Alexandria, Performance Plumbing, Yuri. Okay, you guys have it. Perfect. So you've got the workbook open. Really where I want to start is by talking about the model, right? Because we're going to start high level and then we're going to get eye level. We're going to get specific. But understanding the model is really important. And this model, if you don't walk away with anything other than what I'm going to share with you right now, this will be a good use of your time because you'll see some gaps in your business. And so this is what I call the accelerated growth model. See if I get the pen to work. And forgive my handwriting because I get terrible handwriting, but I think you'll get the idea, and it helps me kind of explain it as articulately as possible. So to accelerate the growth from where you are right now to tripling over the next 12 to 24 months, there's three things that you really have to get honed in your business. Three things. The first is we've got to drive leads, right? You got to have that lead channel turned on where you get leads coming in on a very consistent basis. Second, we've got to maximize conversion. I'm using shorthand here, but conversion, we can't just generate leads in a vacuum, right? We have to get leads, and then we have to convert those leads into book jobs, into in-home consultations, into revenue, right? So we have to have an engine to convert the leads that we generate at the highest level possible. And then third, and probably just as important, right, is we have to optimize results. And I promise you, this is going to make sense as I explain it, as I unpack it. But the reality is, if you can drive leads, maximize conversion, and optimize your results, you have a very clear path to triple your revenue or more over the next 12 to 24 months. So I'm going to unpack each of these individually. And what I would like you to do is just kind of green, yellow, red light yourself, traffic light yourself on where you're doing well, green, where you feel like, you know what, that's an area for improvement, yellow, or poor, like we're not doing that right now, or we're doing really bad on that, red. If you look at this model through this lens and start to look at where there's room for improvement, you will get some insights. You will get clear takeaways on the things you need to focus on next. So when it comes to driving leads, there's three main channels that we want to tap into. We've got organic. And so organic is showing up in all the places that you can without actually incurring a cost, like optimizing for Google and Bing and the Google map, optimizing for the free online directory listings, optimizing word of mouth business. There's lots of things we can do organically to generate deal flow. And so on this one, it's like, are you showing up in the non-paid listings for the keywords your customers are typing in when they look for your services? So we want to really have organic going. Second to that, we've got paid, right? And that's running Google ads. Maybe it's running Facebook ads. It's running a retargeting campaign. It's having a budget to get in front of your ideal prospects. And usually we think here, we lead with Google local service ads. We lead with Google ads, right? And really making sure we're bidding for the keywords that our customers are typing when they look for our services. So we got to be doing organic. We've got to be doing paid. And then third, and often overlooked, is your database. There's cash in your database. The database is all of the people that have done business with you in the past, all of the people that maybe inquired about your services in the local market but didn't convert. And if you're spending a lot of money generating leads from organic and from paid, and you've got a bunch of customers and you're not working the database, checking in with them via email, checking in with them via text message, giving reasons for them to let you back into the home, to service them again, that usually represents a big opportunity for the clients that we work with, that we do what we call database reactivations. We're able to have a consistent flow of literally book jobs without incurring any additional cost or any additional content that we have to put out there. So when it comes to generating leads, what's green for you? What's yellow for you? What's red for you right now? I'd love for you to just kind of grade yourself on this. And usually what I'm seeing is we're spending a lot of money on paid and it's just little over break even. And so maybe that's yellow. Organic, maybe we're doing all right, or maybe we're not ranking at all, right? But usually this database is a big opportunity that's a red. It's like, hey, that's a big play that we should be tapping into to really improve our deal flow. So hopefully that's clear, right? So if we drive leads, the next thing we have to do is we have to convert, right? We have to maximize the conversion of the traffic into leads, and then from leads into book jobs. And so there's really three things you want to focus on to improve your conversion. Number one is your website, right? Fact is, your customers, your potential customers, before they call in, before they start a booking process, they're going to get to your website. They're going to click around. They're going to look at some of your reviews and what people are saying about you. And so if your website isn't built to convert, and we're looking, to be converting at like 30 to 35%, if it's not built to convert, then you're going to be driving traffic that doesn't lead to deals, that doesn't lead to jobs. So it's really important that your website's built to convert. We're going to be talking about some very specific things you can do on your website to take it maybe from converting 5 to 10% to converting more like 30 to 35%. And when you get that going, you can spend more on your marketing because it's going to generate more revenue on the back end. So your website, the next to that is your reputation. And that's kind of your reputation. It's your reviews. It's what people are saying about you on Google, on Angie, on Yelp, right? On the public places. Because again, they're going to look at your website. Maybe if they've already decided they want to do business with you or somebody refers you, they're always going to look real quick up your exact company name and look at the reviews. And if you don't have quality reviews, or if there's too many negative reviews, that will absolutely draw down your ability to convert. So we want a website, we want reputation. And then the third, again, the big opportunity, I think, in most home service companies is automation. Automation. Regardless of how somebody comes in contact with you to request service or to potentially hire you for your services, if you're not using automation, and by that I just mean marketing automation, where you can send a text message, you can send automatic email follow-up, you can have a call, kind of automatically connected in 5 minutes or less. If you're not using automation at some level in your current business process, you're not going to be converting as well as you should, right? And marketing automation is here. There's great technology on the market. We've got a great platform called Conversion Amp that can bridge the gap between manual follow-up and actually automating the process and giving prospects the ability to engage with you via two-way text message. And we found that has a huge impact on conversion rates. And so as you think about conversion, where's the opportunity? Maybe your website, maybe it needs to be better. I'll be talking about some specific things you can do there. Maybe your reputation. Do we have a process where we're getting reviews after every service call? Do we have at least a 4-star review rating when somebody looks up our company on Yelp, on Google, and Angie and the other sites? And are we leveraging automation? Do we have every lead going into a platform where an email, call, text message, and a number of communication touch points happen without us having to physically do it ourselves? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know, as you're thinking about where there's room for improvement from a conversion perspective, where's the opportunity for you? Is it the website, the reputation, or somewhere in between? So we're going to drive leads. When you maximize conversion, you're going to have a very, very improved outcome for all of the marketing that you're doing. Now, the third thing we want to do is we want to optimize results. And when it comes to optimizing results, the first thing when it comes to tripling your sales, when it comes to accelerating your growth, is your total spend. Right? In order to continue to grow, you're probably going to need to increase your budget. You need to spend more on content, more on paid search, right? But it's only assuming that there's a return on investment. And what I find is a lot of companies that I deal with, when they get stuck, they'll say they did well and they got to $2 million in their plumbing HVAC business. And it's but we're kind of stuck here at 2 million. Well, we're like, okay, where's the money? How much are you spending back in your marketing? And we know for growth, you want to be spending between 10 and 15% more reinvested into marketing. And a lot of times we're like, you know what? I'm used to spending $5,000 a month, right? That's what I put into my marketing. I kind of lock it there. Well, if you don't give your business the fuel that it needs, the marketing investment, you're not going to generate enough leads in order to generate enough book jobs to have the growth and momentum. And so sometimes it's just a function of knowing where to spend and increase that spend in a way that has a positive, tangible, measurable return on investment. So total spend. From there is our average cost per lead. You need to know how much did we spend on our marketing this month, this quarter, this year? How many leads did we generate? And what's our average cost per lead, right? You really need to know that number. You want to manage to that number, because if you can quickly see, okay, here's how much we spent, here's how many leads we generated, here's our average cost per lead, then you can say, okay, I feel comfortable increasing this because I know that at $70 per lead, I can generate enough book jobs to have a great return and continue to grow the business, right? And so we would need to know total spend, average cost per lead, and then ultimately ROI, return on investment, right? I find that if you're going to triple your sales, you need to know these metrics. And it needs to be something where you can easily log into a dashboard and say, how much did we spend? How many leads did we generate? What's our average cost per lead? And then most importantly, what's the return on investment? And really, you want to know that return on investment by channel. So if you're doing Facebook ads and you're doing Google ads and you're doing retargeting and you're doing SEO, and maybe you're buying local service ads and you're in Nextdoor, you want to see for each of those, what are these metrics so that you can optimize around what works best. And it's interesting because in some moments in time and in some markets, different strategies work better. And so it's super important that you have that and you're shifting the spend, you're shifting to what's actually working best. And what's interesting is when you get this accelerated growth model really dialed in, you're going to generate consistent leads, you're going to have great conversion of those leads, and because you're constantly optimizing for results, you've got this vicious cycle where as you've got that next truck, when you've got that next technician, you can say, okay, let's increase the spend and let's put it on here and here. And we know that we can generate enough leads to keep those trucks running, to keep the business booming. Give me a 1 in the comments if you're tracking along with me, if this is making sense, if you feel like, this model is something you can sink your teeth into and see, okay, yes, Yuri, awesome. He says he was also not aware of the opportunities for automation, which is great. There's definitely great opportunities for automation in all of our businesses. So that's the model, and that's high level. Hopefully this is something you can actually see it without my messy handwriting. And now we're going to get into the specifics, like the very specific things you can do to improve in each of these different areas within your business. And for those of you that really like to see the detail and kind of see what I'm talking about very visually, because you're seeing it through the screen, it's a little bit back on your workbook. I've included this where it talks about each of the different things you want to optimize for in driving leads, maximizing conversion, and optimizing for results. And so I'm a big fan of like learning from example. And I know that was heavy talk, right? There was me kind of drawing on the screen and things. I want to share an example with you. One of the companies we work with is Mark Norman from Shamrock Plumbing. And we've been working with him going on, I think like 6 or 7 years now. But what's cool is Mark has seen the tripling of his business a number of times over the years. I think he's a great example because back in the day, when we started working with Mark, he was heavy in the yellow pages. And that used to be where people looked when they needed plumbing and HVAC and electrical service. They went to the yellow pages, right? And he had grown his business through that channel as the primary mechanism. But somewhere along the way, the yellow pages stopped bearing fruit. It was just like the lead flow wasn't there. There was no return on investment. And so he needed to ask himself, like, okay, well, if the customers aren't going there anymore, where are they going? Where are customers looking? And we all know, if you're on today's session, you know that the customers just completely shifted online. Statistically speaking, more than 97% of your ideal customers use the internet in some form or fashion when they're looking for your services, right? They're going to Google, they're going to Angie, they're going to Nextdoor. They're using the internet. And so that really begged the question for him was like, okay, well, if it's shifted online, right? What do I need to do as the owner to make sure I dominate my local market, right? That I am coming up where my customers are looking. And he tried a couple of things. And I tell this story because I know a lot of you, this was kind of your journey. First thing he did was the Yellow Pages guy told him, hey, I can get you online, right? Forget about the Yellow Pages. I'll set up a website for you. I'll get you coming up in the search engines. So he hired the Yellow Pages. And the Yellow Pages put a website up for him, and they put him on yp.com. And he was spending a couple of grand a month, but it really fell flat. Like there was literally no traction from it. And the issue with that strategy was, while he had a website and it was on YP, it wasn't coming up outside of that. It wasn't coming up on Google. It wasn't coming up on Yahoo. It wasn't coming up on the places the customers were looking. So scratch that. He was back to the drawing board. What can he do next? And so he connected with one of the big PPC management companies of the time. I think it was either Reach Local or Yodel. And they had a great pitch, right? The pitch was, we're going to track all your calls. You're going to know exactly how many leads are coming in. And we're just going to make the phone ring off the hook for you, right? And they set a website up for him. They did get him coming up in the paid search. And this was better than YP, but it wound up just kind of breaking even. And so regardless of how much he increased the spend, it felt like if I go to $5,000 a month, I generate, $6 or $7,000 in revenue and booked services, nowhere near enough to run my business and grow, right? And the problem with this strategy was while he was coming up in the paid listings, he wasn't coming up organically. And the website they set up for him was very generic. It really had no reason for somebody to choose him versus the competition. And so he was back to the drawing board again. And so really what we needed to make sure we did for Mark, and what I think most of you guys need to do, is figure out how do we come up, not just in the paid listings, but in the organic listings as well, for the most important keywords in our area. And then how do we make sure that our website is built to be compelling enough that it converts a visitor into a caller, a visitor into a lead. And so we implemented the strategy I'm going to be rolling out with you guys that we unpack inside the workbook that you have access to. And we made sure he's coming up. And for you, I think you really want to make sure you're coming up in local service ads. We'll talk about that a little bit. You want to make sure you're coming up on the map in your service area, for your city. And you want to come up as often as possible in the organic listings with your website, with the various directories that you're ranked on. And ideally, we want to dominate the search engines in our area. And so over the years, we rolled out an updated version of Mark's site, and we built it to convert, right? And this may not be the prettiest site, but I'll show you some of the metrics. It converts extremely well because it's got personality and authenticity. Like when you get to the site, you see the owner, you see what he's about, you see what he can do and the types of services he can provide. And I'm going to show you exactly what you can do to improve the conversion rate on your website. But we rolled out the site, made sure it was built to convert. And then, of course, we made sure it was coming up organically and coming up in all of the places in his service area. And, you can run some searches. You'll see he comes up very, very well in Orlando, Florida. And then over the years, we rolled out the complete digital dominance method, which I'll be sharing with you guys throughout the course of today's session, which kind of moved from organic to local service ads, to retargeting, directories, pay-per-click, social media, marketing automation, and then making sure we turning a one-time customer into a repeat buyer that uses this again and again. Well, looking at the years, kind of dating back from 2017, you can see about a $1,600 investment in online marketing. We tracked 230 leads back then, average of $6.96 per lead, right? Not bad. Fast forward, 2018, a little bit more spend, 490 leads per month, an average of $6 per lead. Fast forward a little bit further, end of 2019, 586 leads per month. And then at the end of this last year, 3,000 spend, 818 leads generated, an average of $3.82 per lead. Now, I'm not telling you to aim for $3 per lead, right? We can optimize for like $60 to $70 per lead and still do really, really well. But as you can see, like this is an example where he more than tripled his lead flow, tripled his revenue, and has continued to grow the business. He went from a one-man operation doing like $250,000 per year to now where he's doing over $1.5–2 million per year and has a team of 7 technicians. I think if he was better at recruiting and had an better average ticket in the field, he could even be doing better in his business. And so I share this as an example to say, like, this is a proven model. It works really, really well when you do it in this way on a consistent basis. And I really want to apply this to you guys. Now, I want to go out of theory mode and into, let's look at your actual website. Let's look at your actual conversion factors. Let's look at where you're spending your marketing dollars and show you the opportunity to triple the sales and to take things to the next level. Give me a 1 if that's a good example and you're excited about saying, okay, how do we like internalize this now and apply it to our businesses? Mike is looking for the workbook link. We'll make sure you get that, Mike.
There's a little cup. It's like you're doing a shot.
Okay. So if you don't have it yet, you go to plumberseo.net/workbook. That's where you can access it. And really, to me, this all starts, if you think about our model, with your website. your website needs to be built to convert. And there's very specific things you can do on your website that will have a big impact on how many visitors wind up converting and kind of taking the next step with you. And again, I said your website's the hub, right? Everyone's going to wind up your website, whether it's from your billboards, whether it's from your truck wraps, whether it's from SEO, they're going to get to the website. And if it doesn't compel, you're going to be losing traffic. You're going to be losing lead flow. You're going to be losing opportunity. And this can make a big difference in your results. Just a good example of this is one of the companies we work with in Fargo, North Dakota. We work with Laney's. And when we started working with Laney's, he had a very generic website. Let's see if I have a screenshot of it. I guess I don't, but it was a very basic website. He was a well-known brand in his market. His website wasn't built to convert. And so we put an updated version of the site with the key strategies I'm going to be showing you here in a second. And without changing anything in terms of his lead flow, in terms of the traffic he was getting, he jumped from 55 leads per month to over 317 leads per month. And if you kind of look at our tracking dashboard here, $2,500 spend, 930 leads. This was back in 2018. Fast forward, now we're at $2,400 in spend and 1,451 leads per month, right? So if your website's built to convert, it can make a huge difference in your average cost per lead and ultimately the long-term results that you generate from your website. And so in your workbook, I've got all of these like this little checklist of things you want to look at on your website. And I want to encourage you, as I'm going through this, open another tab, pull up your website and check to see, like, do I have these key elements, these key things in place? I'm not going to bore you with all the details. Like you've got the worksheet right there that you can do to go through this. But I do want to kind of show you a live example and show you the key things you want to be looking at on your website that can make a huge difference from a conversion perspective. And so let me share my screen here. And let's get into a couple of quick examples. That way you can look at this and say, okay, I see this is a little bit different. Like this is something where I need to be focused on in terms of generating better results. Okay, so let's pull up. So this is Valley Plumbing. This is one of the companies we work with in the Salt Lake City market. They do very well. I'll show you some of the metrics here in just a sec. But what you'll find is a common theme across our client sites is personality and authenticity is really important, right? Don't use just static imagery of a smiling family or a nice looking house. Like put the pictures of the real people within the business, put them front and center, put yourself front and center. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. Make it easy for someone to convert, right? When somebody gets to your home service site, they don't necessarily want to read, a lot of information. They just want to see, is this company reliable? Are they going to show up on time? Do they look legit? And then they want to do one of three things. They want to call a number, right? And there's still some percentage of the population that wants to dial a number. They want to start a chat and get some questions answered, or they want to book a job, right? So those are the three conversion factors you want to make front and center above the fold. Like even before them having to scroll down, you want to have your phone number there. You want to have an opportunity for them to book, right? So whether that's through Conversion Amp, which is a marketing automation tool we use where they can pick a time on your schedule, or you're putting them straight into ServiceTitan, you're putting them straight into House Call Pro or Field Edge, make it possible for them to pick a time to get a confirmation. The Uberization of home services has arrived, right? Your customers are used to, I'm hungry, going on an app, typing in what they want and hitting submit and having the food show up at their house. They're used to, like, when they want to go to their uncle's house, saying, come pick me up on an app and having a car magically arrive and take them to their uncle's house. So your customer, and this is a big opportunity for those of you guys watching, your customer wants that same experience from you for your plumbing, HVAC, home services. And the home service companies that give that in advance, that are like a year, 2 years, 3 years ahead, are going to have a massive advantage. And it's very easy to do this, right? Just give them the opportunity to pick the time right on your website, to have a confirmation come to them. They don't have to call you. They don't have to have a conversation. If they have the opportunity to bypass that and go straight to booking, they will. So hopefully give me a one in the comments if that makes sense. Leverage the technology that exists, reduce the friction. So conversion, right? We want personality, authenticity. We want the phone number. We want an easy way for them to be able to convert via chat or via an appointment widget. Now, some portion of your client base would prefer to do more research and understand more about what you do and all your benefits. And so you want that on the website. You want to have authenticity and some video multimedia. Believe it or not, people watch these videos. They like to get a sense of who you are in advance. They want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so the more you can give them that type of multimedia experience where they're seeing pictures, they have the opportunity to watch video, it improves your conversion rate. So just on your checklist, again, you look at the key things that I'm pointing out, and you'll see like this obviously improves conversion. Having the spot where they can fill in a form, having the spot where they can start a chat message and have a two-way dialogue. Talking about your main reasons they should choose you versus the competition and phrasing it in terms of the customer, right? Understand that your customer has a challenge that they want solved. They don't need the technical mumbo jumbo. They want to know it's going to be hassle-free. I'm going to get a superior service. You guys are available 24/7. You're actually going to answer the phone live. You're going to give me competitive and honest pricing, right? Really make the case in 3 to 4 big bullets about why somebody should choose you versus the competition. So just an example there in your workbook, what I really want to encourage you to do, whether this is you personally, or maybe somebody on your team, or maybe the agency that you're working with today, is look at your website through this lens. Ask these questions of yourself. And oftentimes there's going to be 2 or 3 things that you'd say, we don't have any pictures right now. That's an opportunity. We're not really showcasing our reviews in a place where somebody can find them right on our website. That's an opportunity. And these little incremental changes can take your website from like a 5 to 10% conversion to 25 to 30% conversion, which again makes everything you're doing so much more effective. So just give me a 1 if there's at least one takeaway there that you feel like, you know what, that's an idea I can go back and sink my teeth into. That's something I could do something with. So in the case of Valley Plumbing, I just want you to see about a $10,000 investment in marketing. So this is management fees and the whole 9 yards, 510 tracked leads. And we can see 330 from organic, 115 from pay-per-click, 61 from Google Maps, about an $18 average cost per lead. But really what I want you to see when we're talking about conversion rate from visitors to callers, you can see traffic-wise about 3,317 visitors. And we track down how many people got to the website and actually converted into a lead. And we can see this website that I just showed you, Valley Plumbing, converts at about 35% from visitor to caller. And I show these metrics because anybody can say this is what you need to do to improve conversion, but like this is the data. And sometimes when I talk with other agencies, because I do a lot in the agency space, people say there's no way your websites convert at 30% or higher in home services. And I can tell you for sure that they do. And so here's another example. One of the companies we work with in East Lansing, Michigan. This is the Meridian Advantage. See about $7,800 in spend, 677 tracked leads across the various channels, about $11.65 averaged cost per lead, 32% conversion from visitor to caller, 32% conversion rate on the site. Just give me a yes in the comments if it's helpful to see some real examples backed with real data to say like, okay, this checklist will actually work. Like if I do these things, it's going to improve our conversion rates. And then one last example is Nixco Plumbing, is a company we work with in the Mason, Ohio area. Again, if you look at the site, personality, authenticity, ability to convert via chat, book directly online, or call, obviously. You can see here $5,879 a month, 353 leads per month, an average of $10.99 per lead, and 38% conversion rate from visitor to caller. So you have the goods, right? You know exactly what needs to be done in order to improve the conversion rate on your website. You've got the checklist there that I provided you. Either go through this list on your own, get with your web design company, or get with us, right? This is what we do. Like if you'd like us to do this for you based on our proven model, we'd love the opportunity to chat. We could look at your website, show you exactly what needs to be done, and either let you go off and do it yourself, or you could hire us, right? And we could do it for you and provide a great, tangible, measurable return on investment. So that's the first piece, right? We've thought about how to optimize the website for conversion. Hopefully there's some action items there. Hopefully there's some takeaways. I see some of you guys nodding at the screen, so thank you for the engagement. I do appreciate it. The next thing is does the website come up in search, right? And for me, that starts with organic, right? Is it coming up when somebody's looking? And that begs the question, does SEO even really matter at this stage in the game? Since we've got local service ads and we've got paid ads above that, and the organic results are moving further and further down the page, does it still matter? And I can tell you, based on the hundreds of plumbing and HVAC companies we work with, it absolutely does. We know that about 71% of the clicks still go to the map and organic listings, with 67% just going to the first 5 results. It absolutely still matters. And just as an illustration, one of the companies we work with is Meridian Advantage in East Lansing, Michigan. You see about an $8,000 spend in marketing, 417 leads, average cost of $19 per lead, 95 from organic, 127 from PPC, 173 from Google Maps. What I want you to see here, they come up really well organically, but really what's important and really what I want to draw your attention to is this. The lion's share of the lead flow is still coming from the maps and from organic, right? If they didn't have that, 65% of their lead flow wouldn't exist. So, if all you're doing is local service ads, if all you're doing is pay-per-click, you're going to have a much higher cost per click, and you're going to be missing out on a lot of the organic opportunity that exists. And so in your workbook, I gave you a link to some of the most important keywords. It's important to note that, like when I say, do you come up for the most important words? That doesn't just mean plumber and plumbing or AC repair, heating repair. There's lots of different keywords and combinations. And sometimes it's the things like hydrojetting, sewer replacement, clogged toilet repair, central air, air conditioning systems in your city that actually generate the lowest competition and easiest to rank and some of the best lead flow. And so if you go to plumberseo.net/keyword-list, I'm not going to bore you to death with this today. Go and download it, look at the list, get a sense of what you have in place. There's very specific things you can do to improve your rankings on the search engines for those different keywords. What I would suggest you do is run a report. Your city combined with at least the top 20 or 30 keywords and see, are you coming up on the first page? Are you not coming up? Because if you're not, then there's a big opportunity and things you can do to improve your rankings. And because you're on today's session, I would like to offer you a complimentary keyword analysis and ranking report where our team will help you decide what are the most important conversion keywords in your market and show you exactly where you rank on Google Maps, and on Bing. And so if you want to do that, again, no obligation. We'll do the homework for you. We'll give you the report. You can take it and run with it, or you could say, hey, help me get ranked for that stuff. Go to plumberseo.net/schedule. We will do our homework. We'll run that report for you. No charge. And you'll know exactly where there's room for improvement in terms of how you rank. I want to show another example real quick because sometimes it's good to see a visual on what you need to do to really make sure your website is ranking, and it can rank for the most important keywords. And so in your workbook here, I've got SEO review, right? And you got the opportunity to grab your custom keyword list. Well, we'll run that report for you. So I'm just typing in the term Reno, Nevada plumber. And this is one of the companies we work with in Reno. It's Ira Hansen Plumbing. And you can see they come up, number 1 on maps. They come up number 1 in the organic results. They rank for a lot of different keywords. But I want you to see the strategy on the website and what you want to look at your website as and say, okay, do we have that in place? To rank for your most important keywords, you need the keyword, Reno plumber in this case, in the title tag. Right? And there's other nuance to it, but that title tag tells Google that particular page should be ranked for that. You want the keyword in the H1 tag, which is kind of that main tag on the first page. You want to have unique content throughout the site. So you don't want it just to have 10 words. You want it to have 500 to 750 or more words, like actual written text for the human being, but also so that it's keyword rich and keyword dense on the page itself. So optimize the title tag, the H1 tag, the content. We want to have pages for each of our services, right? Repiping and drain cleaning and everything in between, right? And we want to optimize those pages with a keyword in the title tag, the H1 tag, and unique content, right? Like the key here is you have to write good, unique content that isn't just for the search engines, but it's also good content that your consumer will actually want to read, right? This is important. And then we want to make sure that we have pages for the main cities in our service area. So around Reno, we've got Sparks and Stead and Spanish Springs. And in most of our clients, we do 10 sub-cities, but in this particular case, Reno doesn't have that many sub-markets. So we want a page for each one of those with unique content. And we use this platform to help pass unique content to those pages. So ideally, if we go and we type in like Sparks Plumber, you can see came up first in Reno. They're also coming up first in Sparks. And they come up for a lot of different keywords in their service area, right? So if we pop into this website, there it is. So, this is what you want to have in place without me going into a 45-minute dissertation on how to optimize your website on page for the search engines. Title tag, H1 tag, pages for each of your services, pages for each of your cities, and really make sure that you've got a footprint for all the most important keywords. I can say we do this really well. There's a company we work with, again, Valley Plumbing, West Jordan Plumber. You can see they come up number one. They're pretty dominant in that particular area. $10,000 spend. I want you to see 329 comes directly from organic. So when you get ranked organically and you follow some of the strategies I'm sharing with you here, you can generate a lot of lead flow, a lot of volume from this particular channel. And your average cost per lead for SEO is going to be less. We're looking at about an average of $9 per lead from their SEO. We just showed you that. Ira Hansen obviously comes up really, really well. Title tag, H1 tags, meta description, pages for each service, pages for each city. And then that's just the on-page stuff, right? So it's easy to look at your site and see what needs to be done on page. What really bridges the gap between ranking on the first page, first couple of listings, and not, usually is actually what happens off page. So it's the links, it's the citations, it's the authority for your website. Again, I'll be doing a webinar on this later this year, probably in the next couple of months, and it'll just be around SEO. We don't have the time for me to spend hours talking about on page, off page, etc. But the key thing you need to know, assuming you've got those pages and they're properly optimized and it's unique content, is you need to pass authority. You need to pass signals to that page that would tell Google this is the most authoritative page for this particular term, right? You do that with links, you do that with content releases and things like that. At the end of the day, all other things being equal, he who has the most reviews and the most quality links is going to win the ranking battle, right? And so there's specific tools you can look at, like Ahrefs, that will tell you, well, if this is the number one guy, what links does he have that you don't? What citations does he have that you don't? And over time, you can build that up so that you can outrank, right? And I can spend 45 minutes showing you client after client after client, website after website that rank number one, and it's a function of exactly what I've given you in this workbook, right? It's a function of getting the content right on the website and optimizing the key areas, claiming and optimize your Google My Business listing or Google Business Profile, putting out content and syndicating it. We have a syndication strategy where when we put up a blog, it gets picked up by local news sites, and we can pass links every single month from authoritative sites. So it's one of the strategies we use to get the homepage, the service pages, and those city pages to rank. And then we want to be passing what they call EAT, expertise, authority, and trust, that Google says, okay, this is the right page that should be ranking for this particular term. So you got the checklist there. Again, I try to hit the 80-20 on this. In your workbook, again, really what I want to encourage you to do, whether you're doing this on your own, or maybe you've got a full-time marketing person, or you've got another agency potentially that you're working with, is go through this checklist, right? It feels like a lot, but it's actually not. We're just looking at, like, do you have these key things in place? And what I would suggest is, regardless of if you love where you're at right now, regardless of if you love your current agency, click on this link right here, plumberseo.net/schedule. Give us your website. Tell us what city you're in. Give us a little bit of details about your company, and we'll do the homework for you. We'll say, all right, these are the 100 most important keywords that you should be focused on. And this is exactly where you rank on Google, on Google Maps, on Bing, so that you can see. Maybe you're crushing it, right? And then we can just give you a high five. Maybe, there's lots of keywords you're not ranking for, and the opportunity is there if we get the right content strategy, if we get the right linking strategy, where we can really move the needle for you. So again, drop this in the chat. It's plumberseo.net/schedule, complimentary. We'll run this report for you. We'll show you whether there's room for improvement or not. Okay, we're phase 2 into this. Again, I'm going to try and hit this as quickly and powerfully as possible. The next, we got to make sure we're coming up on maps, right? And there's a little bit of a different strategy that goes into ranking on the Google map. I can tell you the difference in the amount of leads that you get once you're ranked in the 3-pack on Google Map versus just ranking organically is massive. Like it's worth the energy. It's worth whatever you have to do to make sure you're coming up in the 3-pack in your main city for your service, whether it's plumbing or HVAC or electrical or some other combination thereof. Just as an example, again, Shamrock Plumbing dominated in that Orlando area, over 819 leads per month. But I want you to see 405 leads per month come directly from Google Map. That's from people clicking the call number directly on the Google Map. And so, again, I could do 45 minutes on how to get ranked on the Google Map. I'm going to hit the key points. Nixco Plumbing, 183 leads per month directly from the Google Map, which is 196 on the most recent report, 315. Actually, here's the illustration I'm trying to point, because some people say, well, the search engine has changed. Google Maps aren't as important as they once were. I want to give you a trend line for this particular client. Going back to 2019, we tracked 183 leads in Google Maps. Now, as he's improved his rankings, the next year, 196. Most recently, 352 leads directly from the map. So I can tell you, and looking at all the clients, this is still super important. And the key thing for getting ranked on the map, believe it or not, is to claim your Google profile, which used to be Google My Business, have citations, web references of your company's name, address, and phone number, lots of reviews from your real customers in your real service area. This is one of the most important elements of getting ranked on the map, right? Is having reviews and having a strategy to get reviews month in and month out. And really what I would suggest is bake it into your culture, where your techs know every job needs to be so good that the customer would happily click the link and post a review. Now, you also have to automate the review request process. Make it really simple. Hand out a card. Hey, real quick, let's go to this site real quick and have you write a review. Have a text message go to the customer saying, hey, thanks so much for your business. Could you post a review for us? At the end of the day, all other things being equal, the companies that have the most reviews are going to win, right? So really, really being intentional about that. And then the stuff I talked about in terms of your website, your title tags, your H1 tags, the content on the site, as well as the links, also play a factor in how you rank organically. So there's a checklist for this, specific things you want to look at, and you want to check to say, okay, what can we do to improve our rankings on the Google Map listings? Okay, so we've talked about the organic side, right? We said there's 3 key things we want to focus on, right? We want to maximize conversion, we want to maximize lead flow, and we want to optimize for results. So we talked about conversion, we talked about the organic channel. Now we should talk a little bit about the paid channel, right? And you should absolutely be leveraging paid search, whether it's Google ads, local service ads, Facebook in certain cases, if you're looking to build brand awareness. But predominantly, if I was going to give you a specific paid search strategy you want to be sinking your teeth into, it's going to be local service ads, right? You want to be spending as much as you can on that. Your average cost per lead from local service ads is the lowest. The lead quality is still extremely good. It's nothing like Home Advisor or some of these other services. So if you've got an opportunity to be in the rotation for local service ads, definitely pump your budget into that. The problem usually becomes utilization, where let's say you put 10 grand into it and you only spend 2. Well, you can only spend what you can spend, right? I'm going to give you guys a couple tips on local service ads that you need to focus on that will make a difference, because it's not set it and forget it. Contrary to popular belief, you don't just do your background check, set your budget, and call it a day, right? You have to actually feed the information back to Google, let them know what happened on the jobs so that they can continue to pump jobs to you through that platform. So first of all, you want to dial in your service area. There's specific things you can do on the profile to improve how optimized it is, what keywords you're targeting, what service area you're going after. you have to mark your jobs as complete. So when that phone call comes in, it shows up on the back end in the dashboard. If you or somebody on your team isn't marking the outcome for the job, either booked, disqualified, eventually Google's going to say, okay, we don't know what's happening with this contractor, and they're going to shift those calls. They're going to shift you out of the rotation and put somebody that is. So this is super important. You want to drive verified reviews, and there's a utilization report that you can run, but you can see what percentage of your leads are actually getting disposed or actually getting booked. And you want to be shooting for 85%, right? That means every time somebody calls in, you want to do everything you can to be the contractor that gets that call. And somebody needs to mark that in the system. I'm not going to spend a ton of time. Again, I've got a whole hour-long presentation on this, but I do want to hit the cliff notes. Dial in your profile, just go through all of the boxes, make sure you've actually filled this in correctly. I'm not going to go through that right now. Mark the jobs as booked. And so inside your Google LSA management dashboard, you've got a screen like this where you can get to your customer call. You have to mark it as booked. There's a link. You have to dispose those calls. Super duper important. This is one of the things that we find like a lot of contractors don't do. They get busy. They do it for a couple of weeks. Really, really important. Deal with the disputes. You don't have to pay for the lead if it wasn't qualified. So if it was outside your service area, a different job, just go ahead and cancel those out. Drive verified reviews. So this is within the platform. What we want is reviews from people that called in through local service ads, booked the job, and there's a specific way that you can request those types of reviews within the platform. Ask for review. It's important that you don't just use your normal tool. Like if you're using Nearby Now right now or using Pulse M or one of these other platforms, have somebody that's dedicated to managing local service ads for you, that's going in and closing out the jobs and pushing the review request through the platform. It will pay dividends in terms of the results you can get with local service ads into the future. And again, a lot of people don't know it, but there's that ability to ask for reviews. It's just going to send a pre-filled questionnaire, something like this. There's a difference, right? This is a Google verified job review. That's how it will look within your platform when you're getting these types of reviews done and you're getting it done correctly. And then you want to look at the report, like within your dashboard, you can see number of leads, budget spend, and then number of appointments booked and your booking rate. You can see that, right? And you want to be optimizing that to get north of 50%. You want to be shooting for 85%. That's kind of like a magical target that you want to be shooting for in local service ads. So there it is. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think it's really important for those of you that are listening. And then to increase the lead flow over time, some things we can do is you can increase your budget. And again, I think you should open up the budget as wide as you can and spend as much as you can. Expand your service area. Like if you're serving a 10-mile radius and you want more, maybe you go to 15, maybe you go to 20. Like expand that service area, expand the ad budget, expand the business hours, close out your jobs in the system, request the verified reviews. Play this game while it's hot. If you need help, this is actually a service we provide standalone. So like assuming you were like, you know what, Josh, I've already got my SEO dialed in. I've already liked my website the way it is, but I'd like to have you guys manage local service ad. We have a very cost-effective option where our team will manage this for you. In other words, we'll set up the profile, even though it's probably there, we'll just kind of optimize it. And then we'll be the ones on the back end marking the outcomes. We've got a whole team of listeners that listen to the calls, mark the outcomes, push the review request. Christian, I don't know if you have the link that you can drop for LSA management where they could get more details on that, but it's a great option. If you don't have somebody on your team that's doing this every day, you're going to be leaving money on the table for local service ads. Or if you're interested, just reach out to Christian. He'll get you the details. There you go, plumberseo.net/LSA. Again, that's a standalone option if that's something that you want. Okay, so we talked about LSA. The other thing when it comes to paid search is we want to be tapping into Google Ads and maybe some paid listing on Angie or YP.com and Yelp.com. And I know a lot of us have spent money on Google Ads in the past and not gotten a great return. And it feels like, man, you know what? You spend money and it's super expensive and there's very little return on investment. I want to tell you that like in competitive markets across the country in plumbing, HVAC, and electrical, we're generating tangible, measurable return on investment with Google Ads. You just have to make sure that you do it correctly. You have to make sure that you optimize the campaigns. I'm going to try and hit the 80-20. So you think about the things that you want to focus on. And again, this is part of our overall accelerated model. If you can't run Google Ads and generate a return on investment, eventually you're going to bottleneck because there's only so much organic traffic. There's only so much LSA. Google Ads really is that knob that you can say, okay, I want to spend more to generate more leads. As long as we can get the cost per lead at a manageable level, we have a scalable model, a scalable option. Sam, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Be sure to schedule a time and let us know how we can support you. So this is one of the companies we work with, Cardinal in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. $12,000 in spend in their digital marketing. This is the whole strategy, right? Website SEO, paid search, 936 leads per month. They're predominantly an HVAC and plumbing company. $12.82 per lead. That's the blended average cost per lead across the board. Now, 220 leads per month from organic, 387 from Google Maps, 224 from paid. So that's the variable where a lot of the spend is going, but it also gives us that scalable model. And so if we drill down just on paid search, you can see how much was spent, about $9 grand on paid search, 224 leads. That means our average cost per lead for HVAC related services in this particular market, $40 per lead. That's manageable, right? We finding it's going to be somewhere between $50 and $125 per lead if you've got a well-optimized Google Ads campaign for HVAC. Similar in plumbing, a little bit less for electrical. But if you've got an average ticket and you've got a good team to convert those jobs on the back end, this absolutely will ROI. Here's a company we work with in Miami, Florida, my neck of the woods, super competitive market, Falcon Plumbing, a great company. You can see here $6,000 spend, 444 leads, 237 directly from paid search. And so that's $3 grand in ad spend, 237 plumbing leads, and an average of $16.21 per lead. Math that out. It's about a 13 time return on investment. What I believe is if we do this correctly, Google Ads should net at least a 5 to 12 times return on investment. And when you've got that return on investment happening on a consistent basis, you have a knob that you can turn where you can generate more leads, you can generate more book jobs, you can confidently go out and hire that next technician, put that next truck on the field because you've got a scalable option that you can tap into. I've got a checklist here for you. This is a little more technical. It's not as easy to look at on the front end, like the SEO thing and the website stuff in Google Maps. You can look at it yourself. For this, really, you want to be on the back end of Google Ads. You want to get access to Ads Manager so you can see, do we have one ad group for everything? Or do we separate ad groups for each of our services? Are we writing specific text ads? And do we have specific landing pages for those services? And is there a strong call to action? If you've got access to it, this portion of the checklist will be really, really useful. I find most large PPC management companies, they consider plumbing and HVAC just like one conglomerate service. And so they'll set up plumbing and all of the keywords, plumbing, drain cleaning, water heater repair will just be in one ad group. It will be going to one text ad and it will go to one specific page. A lot of times just the homepage. And that's a recipe for failure. What we found in working with hundreds of plumbing, HVAC home service companies is that by drilling down and really optimizing the keyword match to the text ads and to the ad groups, we can have a lower cost per lead and have a higher conversion rate. And that's how we're able to get this type of return on investment and get results where a lot of others have failed. So again, there's a checklist here. I would encourage you guys, go through this checklist, find the opportunities. I know we're going a little bit long and I'm going to make sure we wrap up relatively quickly here, but really look at it. What's the opportunity that you could be tapping into with your paid search to generate better leads, to generate better results and to have that scalable model? Don't sleep on social media. Really, to me, social media is the opportunity to generate more repeat and referral business. And so really what we're after is we want your client base to engage with you, right? We want them after the service call to hit the like button, to hit the subscribe button, to engage with you, and so that you're top of mind. There's a whole nother Facebook ads play, but I really think that comes once you've got great organic results. You're doing really well with Google ads. You've got good consistent lead flow, because that's all directional based marketing, where we're getting in front of the people actually looking for our services. And then as we're looking to build our brand, if you're already doing radio ads, if you're doing billboard ads, that's where Facebook advertising, YouTube advertising can be really, really effective. Email marketing, super important. Make sure you're dropping an email on your customers after each service call. Make sure that you're dropping an email on them on a monthly basis. That's going to improve name awareness. That's going to improve repeat and referral business. When it comes to marketing automation, I really don't want you guys to miss this. If you're doing any type of online marketing today, whether it's SEO or pay-per-click, and you don't have automation in place to follow up with your leads, you're leaving money on the table, right? Because we're doing marketing, whether it's Thumbtack or Google local service ads, Home Advisor, nicely wrapped trucks. You guys are doing marketing, so leads are going to be gravitating into your business. But what I find when I look at our client base of several hundred plumbing, HVAC, home service companies is 50 to 60% of inbound calls leave unconverted, right? That means they called in, they were interested in the service, but they didn't book the job, right? The other thing I see is like 90% of web forms, the forms that somebody fills in where they try and schedule a call or request more information, just die. Like, it seems like web forms is where most leads go to die. And the reason for this is your leads that don't get followed up within 15 minutes or less are going to go somewhere else, right? They're going to hit the back button. They're going to call the next guy, and you're completely out of gas. Your average customer needs to be followed with 5 to 7 times before booking the job. So those customers that you submit the form that didn't answer you when you tried to call them back, or they called in and they weren't ready to convert, if you don't have somebody following up, hey, you requested the quote, just wanted to check in. Hey, you said you were going to talk to your husband. Where are you at? If you don't have somebody that's doing that follow-up and follow-through, your conversion rate on your leads isn't going to be where it needs to be. And what's really cool is the advent of text messaging reduces the amount of actual phone time that's needed to pull this off. Your customer in today's environment would much prefer to do a text message with somebody on your team than to have to pick up the phone and call. And so that being the case, we can put automation in place through text messaging and email to make sure that leads get followed up within 5 minutes or less every single time, and that those leads that don't convert, or those times that we don't answer the phone live, we start a text conversation that will massively improve the conversion rate of our leads. And so the system we have is called Conversion Amp, and it does this. And so when a web form gets submitted on your website, within 2 minutes or less, they're going to get a phone call from your office. They'll call your office and it says, press 1 to connect now. And your office is trying to call that person. When they don't answer, a text message and an email goes out saying, hey, you just submitted the form on our site. How can I help? Right? It starts that conversation. And then it's going to continue to touch them automatically, assuming that they haven't responded, assuming that they haven't booked their job. It's going to say, hey, just wanted to follow up. Can we help? And we're finding that automation has a massive impact on the conversion for the leads that are coming in. Just let me know in the comments here. Do you think if you followed up with all your leads in 5 minutes or less, and you touch them at least 5 times every time, that you would generate more book jobs? At least nod back at the screen. I see you guys. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. And so that's where Conversion Amp comes into play. If you go to conversionamp.com, we'll walk you through that system. It looks complicated, but the reality is it's automation, right? It's just automating the follow-up and the follow-through so that when someone submits a request, they're going to get communication via phone and email and SMS. And then we're going to leverage automation to get them to either our scheduling widget or your scheduling widget so they can pick a time. And then they're going to get reminded until they convert from pick time into a booked job. And so it's built, it's proven, it works extremely well. It's another one of those things that's part of our overall package. But if you just wanted this, we could do that for you, right? So it's conversionamp.com. It amplifies your conversion rate. So you've got the checklist here in terms of how you're following up, how you're leveraging automation. Make sure that you look at the gaps and the opportunities. I think for most of you, maybe you've got a good website, maybe you've got good paid search going on, Maybe you're good with email marketing to your customer base, but you're not leveraging automation to follow up with every lead quickly and follow through on the opportunities that don't convert and re-engage those customers that were interested a year ago but haven't booked a job. You can use this to continually work your database and generate more leads and more sales. Okay, so we've talked about generating leads, paid and organic, and database. We've talked about maximizing conversion, our website, our reputation, and marketing automation. And now we just got to make sure we think about the results optimization and really optimizing our results. I promise you, when you do all of the things I've shared with you today, and you can confidently check off the stuff on the workbook I provided you, you can absolutely triple your sales over the next 12 to 24 months. So things you want to track when it comes to tracking, you want to have Google Analytics, which will show you how many people got to the website, what they typed to get there. You want to have a keyword ranking report that shows where you're ranking on Google and Bing, especially today, for the most important keywords. Are you moving up? Are you getting the links and the citations and the rankings that you need? Call tracking, you have to absolutely be able to say how many phone calls, how many web submissions came in this week, this month, this quarter, this year, and know what the actual results are. And then really what I suggest is getting a dashboard in place. I showed you our dashboard again and again and again throughout this session, where you can quickly see how much did I spend for this period, how many leads did I generate, what's my average cost per lead, what's my projected return on investment, and then if you can bridge that with Service Titan or some other system where you can really close the loop and say, actually, this is how much revenue was generated. That's when you're truly able to optimize for results. That's when you're really able to accelerate your growth. And so the question here is like, do you have this stuff in place? Is there a dashboard? Do you clearly know average cost per lead and projected return on investment? If not, that represents a pretty big opportunity. So again, this is your checklist. Hopefully I filled in some gaps. Daniel says, thank you so much, Josh. I've enjoyed the presentation. Thanks for being on here. I'm glad you got value. Again, you could have just gone through this list and had a productive session. Hopefully the fact that I explained it, and at least I gave you enough detail that you're like, okay, I get what needs to be done with the website itself. I get what needs to be done with the SEO in order to get ranked better on page and off page. I get what needs to be done with the Google map. I see some things we can do differently with paid search. I know we got to get a little more active on social media. I see some opportunities for conversion optimization and leveraging automation. I know what I need to track. Really what I want you to do next is spend a couple of minutes here on the action plan and take the key things, right? And the last thing I want you to have done is sit here for an hour and 15 minutes listening to me talk. I want you to take something from this. I want you to use this to generate more leads and to get return on investment. So you look back and say, man, it was a time well spent. And that's only going to be possible if you take action, right? Information without action is a waste of time. So in this section right here, where it says action plan, what are you going to do with your website? What are you going to do with your SEO? What are you going to do with your pay-per-click? What are you going to do to improve your conversion? I want you to come up with at least one in each. And if you think, you know what, I see there's an opportunity here. I see that Josh and his team have a proven model. I've seen the results they're getting for other plumbing, HVAC, home service companies. I'd like to potentially work with them. And if you're in that spot, there's a link right here that says to schedule your lead flow acceleration session. What I want you to do is click that button. It's going to take you to a page. Give us some details. Tell us, your website, what part of the country you're in, kind of what you're spending on marketing today. And our team will go to work. We'll run that ranking report for you. We'll show you exactly where there's room for improvement on page, off page with your website. We'll give you a plan. And then if you're interested, we'll show you like, here's what it looks like to work with us. Here's how much it would cost. Here's what you can expect. Give me a 1 in the comments if that sounds fair. Kind of go to plumberseo.net/schedule, pick a time. I think you're going to see we're very low pressure. It's going to be high value. And if it makes sense, we'd love the opportunity to work with you. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. Like we are in this industry. We're part of Nexstar. We're part of QSC. We're part of CEO Warrior. We're part of Service Roundtable. Tom's already scheduled. Amazing. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you taking the time. So that's it. You've got the accelerated growth model. Drive leads, maximize conversion, optimize results, regardless if you're at 100,000 right now, 1 million right now, or 5 million right now, if you dial in these areas, you can absolutely triple your sales over the next 12 to 24 months. It has been my absolute honor to share with you today. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for being such active participants, for chiming in with me on chat, for nodding at me with your cameras on when I looked up. I got a lot of energy from that. If there's anything we can do to help, give us a call, 866-610-4647, or go to plumberseo.net/schedule. And we look forward to the opportunity to connect with you and really, really appreciate everybody's time. Thanks, everybody. Have an amazing afternoon. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much.